Today we will be talking about KPIs. I have audited over 500 different companies, and surprisingly, many of them, setting up KPIs wrong. At the end of this video, you will have very practical step-by-step checklist what help you to understand what KPI your company, small homestead or small startup or small business should have, or if you're working in a big enterprise, how you are apply this knowledge to boost your career, to understand from the bigger perspective, from the company perspective, what KPIs your department or your role should have. What is the KPI? KPI is a key performance indicator. It shows what you do on a day-to-day role, how it impacts overall strategic goal of the company. Let's say the company have overall strategic goal to expand market to Canada. This strategic goal where the entire company will be working toward the next 3-4 years to understand the Canada market, to sell the product to Canada market. How your role and your department can help in that goal? Does your supporting goal, supporting KPIs connected to that? KPIs is a key performance indicators. We also have objectives and targets. Objectives and targets, it's kind of like a bigger strategic target, bigger strategic goals where the company intended to go. We have 4 real life case studies to go through and to understand what could be wrong with KPIs, how the small startups, small companies, how the big enterprises can still understand or implement KPIs wrong, which cost a lot of money, delay the success of the company. First example, it's a homestead chickens. The closest to me example, because I have chickens, I love them. Most of the small homestead, they have a goal. I have chicken because I want to have eggs. This where all problem coming from, because it's a wrong KPIs. The second case will be cybersecurity and ISO 27001, which informational security certification, and how company can set up KPIs here. I would suggest, even if you're interested only in one, even if you're interested only in a startups, in a homestead chickens, or in informational security, environmental, to watch all of them, because it will give you the example of concept, how KPIs can be set up in the right way. The third one will be environmental and ISO 14001. The environmental KPI are more descriptive. They more understandable from the kind of human everyday life perspective, and I know that from my training. I usually do training on risk management, on ISO certification, and I have a chance to talk to people how they understanding this and that terminology, so I understand what environmental examples in the KPIs are more conceptually understandable for even informational security people, for quality people. And the fourth example will be manufacturing and production conflict. From the case of very famous global enterprise with 200 sites over the world, what can they do wrong, right? They famous. They have everything, they have all resources, how they can do the KPIs wrong. From this section, you will understand how KPIs can create completely blind spot in a system while ignoring risk, how numbers can look good, cosmetic KPIs on a paper, but in fact not reflecting the real situation, means nothing. The secret pattern behind all poorly designed KPIs: either no one can own KPIs, no one can influence KPIs, or they completely not relatable to the goal of the company, to the risk, or to this particular site at all. The KPIs can be counterproductive, where they contradict to other KPIs what's set up for this unit, for this company, or even for the small startup. Let's start with the kind of simplest, the most widespread, the most understandable example. It's homestead chicken farm. Small chicken farm, and most of the people, why they have chickens in the first place, they want to have their own eggs, especially with this egg sanity, what happened on the market when the eggs either not on a shelf or it's a really crazy price. Everyone wants to have their own eggs. That is a wrong KPI. Maybe you don't know that, but you can force chicken to lay more eggs through the artificial lights, the same as the salmon farms. You can force through the high protein food. You can have breeds for delivering eggs every day. There is downside. Each chicken breed has the finite number of eggs. So each chicken can only lay certain number of eggs through the life. When chicken laying eggs, it's protein. It's huge load on the chicken immune system, health system. This why some of the breed, natural, not selectively made breed, not like heritage chicken, they deliver small eggs, and this number of eggs usually 150 per year. So it's mean chicken deliver only every other day one egg. For the winter months, those chickens can completely stop delivering eggs because cold, because a shorter day, but also because chicken going through the preservation of immune system, not spending protein, not spending nutrients for the egg laying, because it's preserving its health. If we're targeting egg number, let's say we have 3 chickens and we want to have the maximum of eggs what they can lay. In this case, the chickens will be probably really often sick. They will have all kind of health problem, and they can eventually die because of those health problems. And also, when chickens lay eggs really often, they have a shorter lifespan, and they laying eggs technically from 4 months old to only 1.5, 2 years, and that's all. So this is industrial breed of chickens. They're not designed to live longer than 1.5, 2 years. And then you buying those chicken breeds for homestead, you have to understand that. So the bigger egg count coming on an expenses, high level of maintenance, high expenses on veterinary services, on the healthcare, on the electricity if it's artificial lighting. From my perspective, from the auditor perspective, I understand by auditing big industrial farms, my KPIs for the chicken, for the small homestead, and I have about 40 something chickens, low maintenance, happy, healthy chickens. I have different breeds of chicken, what delivering small number of eggs per year, but it's not affect their health. So I don't want to have bigger eggs or bigger number of eggs on expenses of high maintenance or chicken health. I have full-time job, so I cannot do that. Low maintenance, happy chickens, that my real KPIs. To achieve that, I have to go through the certain steps. And I also gathering the data of calculating how many eggs I'm collected. But for me, the collection of the eggs, it's more showing the state of the health of all chickens. So how they feel, what eggs they delivering, because the eggs, it's more like a side effect. As for us human, healthy hair, healthy nails, it's a side effect of the good health, right? Next example is for informational security. This is real life case study, real life example. The tech company set their cybersecurity KPIs as a 0 security incident, no major audit non-conformities. If it sounds good for you, if it's the same in your company, all these KPIs are wrong. So let's start from the first one. 0 security incident doesn't depend on the company effort. How you can impact that? Even if you do everything perfectly, you still can have security incident. The side effect of this KPI will be either employee will not want to raise those incidents or escalate that to the serious incident. Every time one incident happens, you cannot impact it directly. You can only create environment where you will be close to the 0 incident. So it's not right KPI. The second KPI, no major audit non-conformities, also wrong for the same reason. The audit usually done by independent auditor, and main goal of the audit is to have a fresh look on your company performance, on your company management system, so you cannot answer for the auditor what he or she will find or not. So it's absolutely wrong KPIs. I saw these KPIs in so many companies. Another example, few vulnerabilities after penetration testing. It's when a company do the kind of fake attempt of penetration of its core network system with the goal of finding vulnerabilities of this network system. It's also wrong because you cannot impact that directly. The more vulnerabilities this service company, the security company will find, the better your network will be because you can fix it. And to put the KPIs to have high vulnerabilities found, also wrong, because it's done by independent assessor, so you also cannot impact that. That KPIs really often what I coming across the audit, but they all wrong because no any employees in the company can directly work on them. They cannot improve those KPIs. So what would be the great KPIs for informational security for that type of company? So the great KPIs should based on objectives and should based on the risk assessment. Another example is environmental example. And as I already said, environmental example, the most descriptive one. Everyone understand that and can kind of project that knowledge on your own company's KPIs. The huge enterprise company with 200 sites have the same KPI, the same goal for all its sites, zero carbon by 2030. So we want to achieve zero carbon by 2030, and this goal divided by smaller KPIs, and one of these KPIs, reduced consumption of electrical energy, reduced consumption of petrol, of gas. In the audit, I can see the company reporting. One office, for example, office site has 2,000 employees. They're doing really great. They're hitting that KPI, they're reporting what they're doing, everything perfectly. They change bulbs on LED bulbs most efficient. They're turning off lights at night, and the electrical energy lowering down every single year. So they're doing really great. But this company also have another site which do manufacturing. The manufacturing processes depend on a high consumption of electricity. So this site also has similar KPI to decrease electrical energy, but it also has the KPI increase production. So one KPI contradicts to another. They only can save electrical energy if they completely shut down production. So in this case, they should have different KPIs. For example, to find alternative sources of electrical power. For example, nuclear power. Maybe it's a bit more expensive. Wind renewable power. So they can still not limit themselves on consuming electricity. They still will be hitting companies' KPI to reach zero carbon by 2030, but they will not be limited in the two KPIs where one contradicts to each other to decrease the electrical energy consumption and increase the production rate. I hope you enjoyed those case studies, which kind of descriptively explained you, I hope, concepts of how KPIs should be established. What else can really help? The constant review of KPIs. It can be internal reviews with management and to the ground employee, to the field workers, how they understand KPIs, how they understand how they perform their job in a level of management expected from them, and how management see those KPIs. So this is always the review check with management and with employees, how they understand, how they find relatable those KPIs. And another one is external fresh view on the KPIs. This how the internal audit, external ISO audit come into place. When the outside person looking at the company and asking inconvenient questions, but after those questions you start understand something is wrong with the KPIs, or maybe the auditor will share with you experience from other companies where he or she saw the similar problem with KPIs and help you to fix that problem. This is the great advantage of auditor profession, where you can see a lot of companies and how they do exact this area and know all examples how that area can be improved or fixed, because you saw the same performance, the same company after a year or 2 or 3 after they fix those KPIs. How I already said, at the end, and this is the end of the lecture, you have the surprise free gift, downloadable practical checklist how to establish the right KPIs. And this checklist can be applicable to any size of the company, to small LLC, to small startup, to small homestead, and to big companies. That's pretty much all. I hope it was helpful. You can find the checklist download link in the description. Please subscribe on my website, where it's a lot of practical and useful materials, sometimes funny articles about my farm, about homestead and chickens and ducks and goats,